Hi, everyone. Hello, Ripendip. All right, it's 3:05. Welcome, everyone. For those who are new to this webinars, my name is Sarah Sadouk, and I'm part of the Create Championship team. It is my pleasure and my honor to welcome all of you for the third webinar of this AI Mindset sessions. So just to give you a bit of a background about the Create App Championship, for those who are not familiar with the competition, it is an initiative that has been launched by His Highness Sheikh Hamdan in 2023. And the goal of this initiative is to position Dubai as a global hub for mobile app development. Next. First. So, So essentially, the initiative has been launched, as I mentioned, for you to create a mobile app, but to position Dubai as a hub for mobile app development. And His Highness Sheikh Hamdan himself has launched the Create Apps in Dubai initiative, and the Create App Championship is a part of this larger initiative. Next. So for those who were here last year, and I saw some familiar faces and some new faces as well, we had 4,710 applicants from 132 countries enrolling for the Create Apps Championship. The competition has been supported by 84 mentors and several workshops. I'll come to it later. But as I mentioned, His Highness Sheikh Hamdan himself made us the honor to come to the 2 edition of the Create Apps Championship final to listen to the pitches and also award the winners of the Create App Championship. Now you'll ask me what's in it for you, and I'll tell you in a bit. Next. So besides the fund prize that I'll mention later, you have an access to a community of startuppers or innovators that just like you had an idea or have an idea and want to bring it to life. So we're providing you with a live workshop every week with our facilitator of today. So we'll be with you during the entire competition. You also have access to live competition and intense training when it comes to the semi-final and final on how to pitch on stage like Shark Tank style. And we also provide you with a platform where you can interact, but you can also book your mentors to help you in the development of your app from a technical, financial, and also business perspective. Next. So today is the last workshop of the AI Mindset series. And today we'll be covering the AI App Builder Blueprint. It's an introduction to the Garage methodology. My colleague will take you through the journey of ideation using AI. Next. So this is the big news. We mentioned it last time, but I'm pleased to say that the Create Apps Championship has officially been launched and is officially open since the 13th of October. It has been launched by Mr. Saeed Al-Gargawi, who's the Vice President of the Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy at Expand Northor, which is the largest event for startups here in the region. And it is sponsored by the Dubai Chamber of Digital Economy. So we heard from the winners themselves about their success story. And we also had industry experts during a panel during Expand Northor, giving us insight on how to use AI for the development of your mobile app. Next. So what's next? You are today going to dive into the AI Builder Blueprint. But before doing so, I'd like to invite you to apply and enroll to the competition. So just to give you a bit of a brief on how it works, the first step is to go to createapps.ae, createapps.ae, and sign up for the competition. Once you sign up, you'll be enrolled in our global platform, and you'll have access to learning modules, mentoring, access to mentors a little bit later, and you'll have access also to all the workshops. The workshops that happened in the past are recorded, and you'll be able to access the workshops that were recorded via the platform. If you have any question, please reach out to us via email, createapps@bncpublishing.net. And my colleagues are dropping all the information on the chat as well. So please refer to the chat if you have any question on the contact details of our team. So without further ado, I'd like to introduce you now to Christina, Elmo, and Joey, who will be carrying on for this session. So if you have any question, let's chat on the chat box. Thank you. Bye-bye.
Thanks so much, Sarah, for the warm introduction, and welcome to all of you. We are so excited to kick off this webinar with you and launch this competition. So yeah, before we begin, just a few small things of one, what are the goals today? What do we want to accomplish in the next around 2 hours? One, we want you to understand what you will need to do to submit for the semifinals. So what kind of app, what process do we want to go through? What do we want to see in the video pitch? Today, we'll give you an overview of the Garage method, which is the methodology and the steps that we will use to get you there. And we also want to introduce you to the app business canvas elements and show you where each step contributes to. Some of you may have already heard of the business model canvas, but this is really a modification looking at how to build apps that are really competitively viable and interesting to launch and scale. Some small housekeeping rules for the next 2 hours. So the session will be interactive. We'll be using Mentimeter. Therefore, please have your mobile phones at the hand to scan the QR code. I think all microphones should be muted. But if you do have a question, please post it in the chat. And there would be really important that when you open the chat and you see the little to sign, that it doesn't address only the host and panelists, but that the question is posted to everyone. And then my colleagues, so Carmen, Sarah, as well as Joey, will be able to help you there and provide these insights and share this knowledge for everyone. Additionally, we will be taking also a 5-minute break halfway. So if you want to refill your cup of coffee or grab another tea, take care of anything, please feel free to do so then. And without further ado, this is who you will be seeing for the next 6 weeks. So I'm joined here with my colleagues today, Joey and Elmo. But also we have Tim Schrierman and Andrea Pazakova, who are also a colleague of ours, who will be popping in here and there throughout the next weeks. As a team, we will really guide you through developing these apps to establish that you have a really great value proposition, that you've analyzed the needs of the market, that you really understand your target audience. And before we begin, as I mentioned, please have your cell phones ready to scan the QR code. In the meantime, yes, please scan this. We want to really just get an idea of who you are and what we've, who's in our audience, who do we have here to work with. And yeah, if everyone is online, maybe in the chat, we can get a small thumbs up if people are able to access the Mentimeter. Yeah, I see a few thumbs up coming in. Excellent. Wait, I'll also get my head out the way so you can actually scan it. Beautiful. Okay, then I will stop sharing the screen, hand it over to Joey to start the knowledge test. All right.
Let's start seeing some results.
So yeah, the first question that we have is, what's your app creation experience? So has anyone already built an app beforehand? Has anyone meddled in it? I have a few beginners, some people with some experience, maybe have touched it, a few intermediates. Okay, let's keep this open. More answers coming in. Really nice.
No experts yet.
No experts yet. Well, that is completely fine because hopefully at the end of this, or also as a small disclaimer, you don't have to be an expert in this. What you really need to have is a nice idea that you want to explore and further develop. And even if that's not there yet, lost the QR code. Can
It's
someone
okay.
please share
You
the
can
link?
also use the code, which is at the top of the screen. So when you go to menti.com, you can put in that number that's at the top of the screen.
Yeah, let's post this in for everyone. Okay, so you enter menti.com and the use code is
6469
6469
9061.
9061. There you go. So going to menti.com, the code is 6469 9061. Okay, let's close this round. Oh, we have one.
We have an expert.
We have an expert. Hey. Beautiful. Nice. A few people advanced, some intermediate. So really a nice, yeah, full balanced group, I would say. Very nice. Okay, then let's continue with the next question. Namely, in what industry or field do you want to develop your app in? Does anyone already have an idea what kind of application they want to develop in what industry? Food, virtual production, healthcare, IT, food and AI-enabled SaaS, property, recruiting, B2B travel, agriculture. So we really have a plethora of ideas, a lot of versatility. Education is coming up as well, tourism, healthcare, agriculture. Is anyone still a bit lost about an idea that they don't have, or just an inkling? Furniture. Okay, let's keep this open for a few more seconds. Okay, recruiting is coming in, social. So I think we have a lot of either B2C, so really directing private users, but also B2B, yeah, B2B tools and ideas. Very nice. And then let's maybe move on to the next question. Oh wait, no, we're still have a few more things popping up.
Social.
Well-being, smart home. So there's already a nice mix. So we're all probably really curious to see what we will come up with at the end of it. How to start Menti. You go on menti.com and then there's a code that we need to enter, which is, I'll paste it in once more. 64 69 90 61. Okay, then I would say till more people log in, let's move on to the next question.
Yeah.
So thank you all for giving insights to your idea. It's really fantastic to see what you have in mind. We want to get a bit more specific now. Namely, how detailed is your idea at the moment? All right, does anyone already have really... First answer I got is very detailed.
Confidence.
Exactly. Not detailed at all, somewhat detailed, moderately detailed. So getting a nice mix, but it seems like a lot of you guys already know what you want to do. Somewhat detailed is currently taking the lead. And I think all of them is a really good starting point. So even if you have an idea that's not detailed at all yet, will really take you through the entire flow to really understand your market, understand who your target audience is, understand what value you can provide. And even if you already have a very detailed idea, you have the chance to really validate those ideas and really develop a very solid proof of concept that you can pilot, that you can pitch then to win the competition. So yeah, somewhat detailed currently seems to be taking the lead. Very good. I think that is an excellent start. And then let's move on to the final question. Namely, in your opinion, what is the most engaging and relevant app that you know or that you use to date? And this is really in your personal opinion. So it can be, of course, you know, your mail. It can be anything Google. It can be anything Uber, food app. This one's taking a bit more time to think about. YouTube. Mobile banking apps, ChatGPT, WhatsApp. WhatsApp's coming up. Yeah, ChatGPT. Gemini, Maps. So these are all really generic apps, but ones that we use really on the daily basis, right? So there's a high utility function to the ones that and there's a high max value that we generate from using these, albeit some of these apps have been around, of course, for a really long time, and some like ChatGPT or Gemini have only been coming up in the recent years, of course, in line with with current developments. CoComelon. Very nice. Copilot, mobile banking apps, of course, also high utility, something that we use every day. Does anyone have any personal or favorite apps that you find relevant or that you seek a lot of value from? Okay, someone said, thank you, are registered, but the email not received. Okay, there we go. Gemini, YouTube, unique app, all AI tools. I would wholeheartedly agree. I think the dependency or how fast we've grown use and dependent on them. Instagram, TikTok, yeah, of course, for entertainment, information sharing, meanwhile, also Windsurf, Microsoft Leap, Do Buy Now, a local app. Notion, of course, really great for note-taking, for project management, for organizing your personal as well as professional life. Suno AI. Okay, so the biggest app that we find all the most relevant is ChatGPT, YouTube, WhatsApp, Gemini. Really nice. Okay, then I would say that is all we have now as a quick introduction of just getting an idea where everyone is, as well as seeing what are the most interesting apps that we have and are using. Let me share my screen again. So we are back here. And yeah, so this is what we'll be expecting. How the next 2 months will look like. So from today, October 15th to December 15th, 12 p.m. GST. We have our kickoff today. Then we're going to go step by step, actually through the steps of the Garage method, helping you explore your idea, have an initial app definition, shaping it, bringing your idea to life, having with the first UX prototype, iterating on that prototype, solidifying your idea, and then really in the last week, creating a very compelling pitch that then you will use to submit your idea. Great. We don't have the images here showing right now. I don't know why, but what we are really working towards. So when you submit your app idea, these are the 3 things that we will really look out for. One, that you have a very differentiated and focused proposition with a very clear target audience and a very clear value that your app, unique value that your app will provide. Secondly, we want you to have a very focused launch plan with an underlying business model. So really making sure that your idea is viable and feasible within the market currently. Do you have a very concrete idea with the individual steps that you're going to do? What are you going to take? What challenges you anticipate? And lastly, a compelling video pitch. Have your elevator pitch ready. Share your story. Share the idea behind what you want to bring around and what impact that will have in people's lives. Excite them and really sell your idea. That is what we'll be looking for. This is the app business model canvas. I've already mentioned it a bit beforehand. These are the areas that we will work towards also in the individual weeks to really help you crystallize your idea so that we have a very specific problem that you're going to solve. There's a very concrete target audience and ideal customer persona that you'll be looking at. Who are we targeting? What is the meaning here? Understanding also understanding the market, what is the opportunity here, but what are also current solutions in the area and what are my key competitors? Then we're also going to take a look at actually the solutions, so the MVP that you'll be developing. What is the solution? What are the key differentiators? How do I set myself apart? And then really operationalizing that as well. What is the commercial model behind it? How do I make this really a viable, sound proof of concept? What is my go-to-market plan? And what is the operational plan? Sounds like a lot that we will be asking you to do in the next 6 weeks, 6 to 8 weeks. But we will help you along the way. We'll have these for now today, of course, this webinar, but individual check-in sessions. Our coaches, we will be able there also to support you along the way. And I assure you, it's going to be a really exciting journey that we'll be on together. And now, with this big disclaimer of 80% of innovations and apps fail, I will hand it over to my esteemed colleague, Elmo, to help you dive into the Garage method and how it is, what we're going to do, and how everything works. So thank you for now. I'll be back in a sec.
Yeah.
And I'll hand it over to Elmo.
Great. Thank you there, Christina. Yeah, it's not to scare you off or anything like that. But we know it's a given that 80% of all ideas, all innovation ideas fail in the end. And the same holds for apps. Now, the main reasons why that is first of all, we see that innovation that fails does not focus on well-defined target users. And many times they think like, okay, we create an app for everyone, it's useful for everyone. But if you try to make something that's useful for everyone, like individual or target groups might not recognize that as like, okay, this is designed for me or supposed to be created for me. So you actually, by trying to target everyone, in the end, you end up targeting no one. So that's one reason why innovation fails. The second one, which is also related to users, is that they're not have a focused user or business need that they're addressing. It's not clear what problem is this app solving for me. So I don't recognize not only myself, but I also don't recognize the problem that I have that it might be solving. So two very important topics related around users. The third one is a little bit more related to apps, is that, like once I recognize that it's might be an app that addresses a need that I have, like I start using it and I don't really understand, how to use it. So it might be that I just stop using it because, it's too complicated. So these are all, again, external factors. And then there's some internal factors. Most important one, we might not have a clear business model. So if you don't have a clear business model and a revenue model, either it's going to be too costly to maintain, or, well, actually the app is not generating sufficient revenues, so it's going to fail. And the last one is about, having a roadmap. So often at times we think we have so many ideas of what the app should be doing and what it should be capable of. We try to put everything in that app but that's very expensive to do first off. And it could be that therefore, like the initial costs are way too high. So you need to roadmap these things out. that's why we always say you have to kind of focus your launch, and then you have a plan to scale up, right? If you scale too fast, it's going to be too costly, and you're gonna burn basically your business down. And the last one is well, you have all that done, so you have thought about the clear target user, you are addressing the right need, you have a great UI, you have a business model, you have a roadmap, but then you forget about marketing and user involvement. So people are not able to find your app, they don't know it exists. So these are the 80% innovation failure, let's say, reasons, and obviously we, and also you guys in the competition, we want to avoid these, and that's why we go through a specific process together, which is even more important these days. You know, like in the past, you could get away with a lot of these things because in the end, people would be able to find you. You had time, let's say. But in today's world, it's changing so fast that you know, you have to act very quickly. So having a method that allows you to move quickly, understand very quickly what users want, is getting more and more crucial. So we had this one, you covered that one. So what we want to do is we want to be part of that 20% that is successful, right? And yeah, maybe I have to, can I move this way? I can't move enough. So is a method that helps us to be faster in defining what we should be building, designing it, building it, and also deploying it. So what we say with the Garage method is that first we spend time to like discover. Remember the 80% failure, a lot has to do with our users.
Hi, Elmo, sorry to interrupt you, but we see you in front of the definition. Can you go on the extreme right?
A little bit more like this.
Yes, perfect.
Yeah.
Yes.
Perfect.
Or even the
okay.
opposite side, completely opposite side.
Yeah, I tried the opposite side, but then I move out of the screen somehow. I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. But thanks for that. So the first thing, explore and understand, you know, like do user research and also understand what the competition is doing, right? So you're not alone out there. So the reason why we do a discovery phase is that we want to understand how, you know, like how we can, you know, like deliver an app that addresses the user needs in a way that is differentiating better than what users are doing today, or maybe what competition is doing. So for that, we of course need to understand like who are users, what are their main needs, but also what competition is out there. So that's always the first thing to do, like understand, you know, like the playing field. Then the second step is let's learn fast. So okay, we've done our exploratory research, we have our app idea, so let's make sure that we test and iterate quickly and often. So we have to go back to users often at times, so to make sure that we like continue learning. And the last one I already mentioned, okay, let's launch small and with focus, continue to learn and then scale. So in summary, like the Garage method is mostly about like, instead of making one big bet, we make very many small bets instead. So small steps will bring us to success. Small, quick steps. Now, how does that method look like? Well, mostly it's about the way we think. So the Garage method leans on a concept called design thinking, which is more of a mindset than anything else. And this is something to keep in mind when you're working through the program over the next you know, over the 6 weeks program. One, be people focused. So always focus on the user. Who are you doing it for? Which user group is that actually? Do I really understand them, and am I solving a need that is important to them? Exploratory. So you might have a detailed app idea today, but you might learn new things about your app idea, about the users, that might require you to change your mind. So be open to that, be able to pivot, right? Collaborative also means, you know, often at times we can do a better job by working with other people. So like reach out to people to help you. You know, like if you have a hard time finding users to do user testing with, well, you have friends and family. Maybe some of them are part of the user group. Reach out to people to help you, right? So like together you can do more. And also be a bit courageous. You know, it's good to have like more, let's say, ambitious ideas, but it's also good to be confident enough to go out there and test your thinking. So it takes some courage to say like, oh, I have this idea. What do you think about it? So take that courage, take those steps, and test your thinking. And finally, action-oriented being, okay, so try to be pragmatic. Know that it's more about fast learning than getting it right the first time. And the only way to be pragmatic is to build something, a prototype, a sketch, or whatever that you can talk about with, with the people that you want to serve or the people that you want to work with. Now, we all often at times also say that you need to kind of balance 3 perspectives. And these elements, they come back in the app business model canvas as well. So the first one is desirability, and that's again about the market and the users. Are we actually addressing a problem that is worth solving? Is it valuable enough to solve? Feasibility is about how well can we solve it? How well did we design the app to solve that problem? And the viability is more about our revenue models, and our cost structures. Does it generate sufficient value for us as an entrepreneur? So we have to balance these 3 perspectives. We will touch upon all of these 3, and we'll make sure that you have carved out thought about this. But there will be a lot of emphasis on desirability. Why? Because mostly feasibility and viability, it's numbers, it's technology, there's experts out there, like we can find answers there. Desirability, the user, the market is often at times the most challenging thing to get right, because it's about people, and people sometimes they make decisions that might seem irrational, not logic, maybe more emotional. But yeah, that is how people are, and people are in the end the users of our app. So it's important, it's a very important element. We do that in the following process. So we are on the far left of this graph here. You all came here with an initial idea, some maybe a very early idea, some more refined idea, but an initial idea. So we'll then go to a step that we call discover, or we're gonna try to get as much information about that idea, but especially about the market, the user, and the context, and what competition is out there. Based on that will help us to fine-tune our idea, our promise to the market. So how will we solve that problem for them? Once we get that very clear, then we are ready to work on our app itself. So we have to think about the features and functionality of the app, and that we more do in the develop phase. So what features should be there, and how does the user flow through that functionality? So what step does the user take when using the app? We will validate, we create prototypes there, we validate those. And in the deliver phase, we're gonna fine-tune it, but also work towards a prototype that is launchable. It shows how it's gonna look like. And after that comes the scale, but we will think about the scaling phase as well. So we will think about how can we start with focus, and how can we scale up to the kind of ideal app. And after that, of course, in week 6, we think about, okay, how are going to pitch this whole story? Because, of course, we're in a competition. We want to win the competition because, building an app and scaling it, we need the grand prize for that, basically, so it'll take resources. Now, I just want to give you a little bit more in-depth understanding of each step. And that means, every week is designed to take one big step, but we will do it every time in 3 smaller steps. So for instance, the discover is the first thing we do. You have an idea, let's explore that idea. So what we'll do in that week is you'll carve out your first idea in a tool that we call the value proposition canvas. And the value proposition is basically, okay, what am I solving for which user? And more important, how am I solving this better than competition? So that also means that we might have first ideas about it, but let's check that. So we'll do user research and market research to understand competition on existing solutions and user research, like I said. That could be a desk research, but we'll encourage you to do real user interviewing. And also to speed up the process here, we'll use AI to help you kind of do that research way faster. We then move to the define phase. So we have done our research, and then it's time to kind of sharpen our proposition. So by this time, we will have a better idea of who the target user is. Maybe we get confirmed, maybe we were right. So maybe we had the right user in mind. This is great. But sometimes we learn something and we kind of have to change our target users a bit because, we did our market research. We'll also understand a little bit better what these users need. These are what we call user insights. Not only what they need, but also why they need it, which helps us, like this understanding of why people need certain things, helps us to create better apps. So let's make sure that we understand that. And then what we'll do is that we'll expand on that in a user journey. So with that, we kind of have this will finalize our value proposition. So by the second week, we will know, okay, these are our target users, these are our needs, and this is how we're going to solve them in a way that is different from competition. And that means that in week 3, we should be ready to start thinking about the actual app design itself. So if we know how we're going to solve or address the user need, we'll also have a good idea about what features and functionality we need to do so. So we can start designing a first user flow on how users use those functions and features. We'll probably also have an idea of what data and systems we also need. So as you know, an app, it might use other data. It requires information maybe to function. So we have to think about that. And we call that the service blueprint. And the service blueprint, like it says, is basically like building blocks for our service. And that will serve as a basis for our first prototype. We call that a UX prototype, a user experience prototype, which is focusing on the main flows, the main steps users will take through the process. Again, these days there are AI tools that can help you create a UX design very quickly. So we'll be using those tools. We'll be teaching you how to use those tools so that you can create those prototypes really quickly. And obviously, these prototypes will be used to validate. So you'll go back to users, could be friends or family, to understand is this app idea, is this really solving a need that is important to you? Let's double check that. And the way it's designed now, does it make sense to you? Is it easy to go through those steps? It's important to do that because we might think that's a good idea, but sometimes users, they think differently about things. And for them, a logical sequence might be other sequence than we think. So that's why we do this validation as well. By the way, we'll probably also do AI stress testing in that phase. So we have AI available these days that also can help you stress test your UX prototype. So we'll do both AI stress testing and user testing. So with that, we arrive at the moment going into week 4, where so we have now a proposition. We know our target user. We know what need they have. We know how we're gonna solve that need, and we have a carved out idea of what the design should be. We did our validation, so we can do some tweaks if needed. And then we create a final clickable prototype, again using AI. So we're going to just basically generate like 80% of the app for us using AI. You know, and if you're a good UI designer yourself, you can also, of course, do things yourself. But this way we can really speed up that process so that we end up with a clickable prototype by week 4. So at the end of week 4, clickable prototype, and then it's time to think about other elements of our little business here. Is okay, so what's going to be the revenue model? What other things do I need to organize to make that app work? And also, you know, how am I going to scale that up? And then we end up indeed in week 5, where we think about our business model and especially our revenue model. And we're going to define something that we call the minimal viable product. And that's the thinking about like 2 things. So we have a user group, but inside that user group, there might be a first smaller user group that is most likely to use our app, that we can reach most easily. So that's a great way to start, you know, like when you launch your app, to focus on those user groups. We'll also think about which functionality and features like are nice to have, and which one are absolutely necessary for us to deliver our promise. So we'll focus on those features first for our launch. And all the other things like other users or bigger user groups, additional features, which we call often feature enrichments, we're going to put on the roadmap, and we're going to think about like when would it be a good time to add these things. So that means by the end of week 5, we not only have a great app, but we also have an idea like how we're going to start, like what will be the first launch functionality and how we're going to scale that up. And with that, we are ready to start pitching for competition, of course, but we do need a pitch. So in the last step, you will create a pitch. You know, think of Dragon's Den, things like that. We'll help you to create a pitch that is inspiring, convincing, and we'll help you to also create that pitch in a video format such that you can submit it for this competition. Right, so with that, we move again through these 5 steps plus the pitch. And one thing I would like to maybe, is it a warning? Maybe, I don't know, but the process looks very structured, but it can feel sometimes a bit confusing because you guys start with an idea. You of course, you are proud of this idea. You have a strong belief in that idea. And if you go out there and do benchmarking, you might find that, hey, maybe there's other apps that already solve this problem. So how am I going to be different? Might be a bit of a confusing process. If you talk to users or you get market research input, you might get additional information that might, you know, like confuse you a bit, and that's fine because we're in a learning process to make sure that we're going to create something that is truly valuable and differentiating. So sometimes it feels a bit confusing, but hang in there, trust the process, and as said, we will be there to help you. So every week is started by a webinar, always same time on a Wednesday, except for the last one, which is a Thursday, but we'll get to that. And as of mid-November until mid-December, you can also sign up for mentorship sessions, you know, with a whole selection of experts. So if you have any questions about any aspects of what we're doing about your app, you can sign in for these mentorship sessions so that we can help you go through that process. Now, as said before, we are working towards filling out the complete app model canvas. So you've seen like these elements, you recognize, I hope, in what I've just explained. So you'll be looking at your target audience and the problem that you're solving for the target audience. that we'll be doing mostly in week 1 and 2, make sure that we understand that and that we actually solve an important need. And on the right side, you see also something about, well, what are the current solutions people use? What is competitor doing? That's also week 1 and 2, because we also, of course, we want to solve that problem in a way that is different and better than competition. So that's all week 1 and 2. And in week 3 and 4, we'll be working on the solution. And then in week 5, we'll do all the rest, like, like the first focus customers, think about commercial plan, go to market, etc., etc. That sounds like a lot for 1 week, but we don't need to have all the details. We just need to understand what we're going to do first. So that's why week 5 seems like a lot of work, but actually is very doable. And as said, and if you've seen already, it's called the AI App Builders Blueprint. It's not because your app needs to be an AI app, but it's more that we will use a lot of AI to help you accelerate through the process. So just to summarize a bit of how we will use AI is, one is we will use chatbots like ChatGPT or Gemini. For 2 reasons. One is to collect and consolidate data quickly. So if we ask you to do competitor research or benchmarking, things like that, or even market research, most of it we will do through chatbots. They can get a lot of information in very quickly and help you to consolidate that. The other thing that we'll do is we'll use chatbots to simulate user interviewing, because if you want to do a lot of user testing, that takes a lot of time and effort. If you want to go to actual users, we will ask you to do some user interviews, but like a lot of user testing and user interviews we also do through chatbots. And then we will also use AI, of course, to create designs for us, UX and UI prototypes. There's examples out there like Proto AI and Just in Mind, but there are many others. We'll help you to how to use those. And at the end, we'll use AI to create a pitch, video pitch for you, such that you don't so you don't need to be a video editor to create a great video pitch. So we'll use AI for that. Yes, and this is where you mostly will use AI. So we'll start using AI in week 1 already, and then you see when we create prototypes, there's a lot of AI, and in the end, when doing the video pitch, obviously also. So you kind of know what to expect. And I just want to do a little experiment with you guys now. And I'm very curious about what's going to happen, but we created 3 prompts for you. There are 2 prompts for you here. So most of you have an idea. So I would like you to grab your phone or your computer and go into ChatGPT or Gemini, whatever you prefer. And then put in the first prompt. So you say like, okay, I have this idea, and then you describe the idea that you have in a few sentences. And then you'll ask the AI to say like, okay, give top 5 alternatives to my app idea, including features, user base. And can you tell me what differentiates them from my concept, right? So let's try that. We've also created a prompt for if you don't have an idea yet, so you can use the alternative prompt, maybe to give you some inspiration for an app idea. So can we try that now? Yeah. You should maybe like this. Okay. Yeah. Are you guys trying these prompts? Maybe let us know in the app if you're trying the prompt or if it's not working for you.
So yeah, hi everyone. Once you have received a response, please post it in the chat so we can see yeah, what you've come up with, so we can maybe discuss a few of the results. Be really great. Yeah, so someone said, oh wow, I see listed all current apps with similar USPs. Yeah, even just share your experience with us. Yeah, what it doesn't have to be the exact response, of course, as it's a competition, we may want to keep that hidden. But if there are any interesting findings, please let us know. Okay,
So we have multilingual social life hub.
nice. Someone said their concept is still quite broad, so there's still a need to really dive down and detail out your idea. Yeah, so I think it's really evident that for an app to really have a strong USP or a really strong value, I think we often also underestimate, especially with these big apps that we discussed in the beginning, you know, Maps or WhatsApp. It's such a huge user group, but if we really think about how many apps exist in the world, how detailed sometimes our products have to be in the beginning to really meet one core market and one core user group and really meet their needs. So there is often, yeah, the question of, can we be more specific? Can we be more detailed in what we want to do and what value we want to provide, what our offer should actually be?
We also have a comment of slightly different responses with ChatGPT versus one of the dedicated private GBT models.
Oh, that's interesting. Yeah, I think there are also, of course, all these LLMs use, use different databases. So there we also see, even if you compare Claude or our private one, ChatGPT or Gemini, they all will also have different answers and different responses. So there also, when we use AI to really expedite and really enhance this process, also feel free there to cross-reference different answers and always think, okay, with what I have in mind, what I'm developing and where I want to go, what is my most useful information that I'm sourcing, and how do I validate that again to become further concrete and to further roll out my idea?
this one.
Yeah.
So very interesting to see your responses, and it just illustrates how we will use AI throughout the process together. It helps you to do your research and get information very quickly. It helps you to get inspiration very quickly. Like years ago, it took ages to do like benchmarking and user research. These days, you've seen it. It takes 5 minutes, and you get a list of apps that are competing with the same USPs, right? So that helps you to think like, okay, so if I have the same USPs as all the other apps, maybe I have to rethink my USPs in order to be successful. So it helps us to speed up the process, and we'll use it a lot in together. We've given 2 examples of ChatGPT or Gemini. If you have other AI apps or applications that you want to use, that's all fine. We recommend these often at times because ChatGPT and Gemini and also Claude, by the way, these days they also use web crawling, so you have always the latest information. Some more localized versions of chat bots don't do that per se, so that's also why you get different results sometimes, and also often at times these chatbots, they try to please you. So if you have used it more often, it gets to know you and it will give answers that they think that you might expect. So you have to take that into account in your prompt. Don't worry about it. When we go through that process together, we'll give you a lot of tips and tricks on how to prompt your bots in different steps of the processes, such that you get objective, useful results. But at least this gives you an idea of how powerful it can be. With that, I would like to open the floor to more general Q&A. We're gonna do that in the chat. So if you have any questions about the program and the steps that we're gonna take, this is the time. I maybe cannot promise that we'll answer all your questions, but what we'll do is that we'll collect these questions, formulate answers, and we'll make them available in the download section, where you could also download the tools later on. We will tell you where that is towards the end of this webinar. So if you have any questions on the steps that we're going to take together, now is a good time. I can already tell you that there were a couple of questions during the talk about, does this mean that my app needs to use AI? No, that's not required. So your app does not need to be an AI app. We call it AI app challenge program because we're going to use a lot of AI basically.
We have a question from Yusuf. Can we submit more than one app idea?
That I don't know, but yes. We see the answer is yes. So yeah, so you can work on multiple ideas in parallel. I like the ambition level there. Very good. Yeah. Any other questions? Burning questions?
From Madsen, can my app idea be an app that helps build apps?
Of course. Yeah, yes. That's can I? The question was like, can I build an app that helps build apps? Yeah. So, but like any other app, we're gonna help you go through that process, like to understand, like, who would you build that app for? Who would be using that app? And how would that app be better or different than the competition out there? There might already be apps that help you do that. So how could your app be better? So definitely, like any other app, we'll go through that same process together to make sure that your idea is impactful, valuable, and differentiating from competition.
But 2 more from Reza. The app will be primarily focused on the UAE market. Will we have access to demographics and interviewees to better understand the landscape?
Yeah, well, what you will have available in terms of demographic and facts is what is currently available on the web. And that's a lot of information. It's way more information that you could quickly find using traditional search methods with Google. And then yet another reason why we like AI chatbots that use the current web information. and it helps you to get that demographics kind of questions answered really, really quickly. Having local people available, I cannot answer you. If you have availability to people from the Arabic culture, like within the scope of your friends and family, that solves the problem. But if you don't, we might need to be a little bit creative in getting that in. One of the ways we're going to be creative about that is AI simulation. So we can also use AI to answer questions as if they were a certain target group. That requires a very specific way of setting up that prompt and the simulation. Again, we will help you and guide you on how to do that. And that will actually already be in the first week. So we will tell you in the next workshop, we will tell you how to do that.
I have 3 more questions. Will this program help with the AI algorithm training?
No. So that I have to be honest with you. So like the program is not designed for you to help you in the AI algorithm development and training of your AI. Well, Andrea, who's one of our experts on AI, she will also be one of the mentors, and she has this knowledge. So if you have questions about that, my recommendation really would be that during the mentoring sessions that you book a slot with her.
From Madsen, can't wait to get started. When can we start working together, as I already have a prototype that would be beneficial for all the participants?
Very, very interesting. The first workshop is in 2 weeks' time, if I'm not mistaken. Is it? 29th of October. So this is the kickoff to inform you about the program and what steps we're going to take together. The first so like you can subscribe to the program now, and the first workshop is 29th of October. I think 3 to 5 GMT. So we'll explain everything in detail about the first step, and also give you like concrete handles, AI tools, and all these kind of things that you could use in that week.
And that's somewhat related to Abla's question. What if I am already working on my MVP?
That's very good. So you might be able to move through the process a bit more quickly, but we just want to make sure that you have a program also where we go through that process, and we want to give you some tools and guidance to say like, okay, I have an MVP. If I look at, for instance, the value proposition canvas that we'll use in the beginning, can I answer everything that I need to put in the value proposition canvas with confidence? If yes, then it's easy a process for you. But what we see many times that there's always some small gaps that we thought we had the answer, but maybe we didn't. So that requires a little bit more polishing. But if you have an MVP, that means you have already spent quite some time on it already. So that means that part of the process might be much quicker for you. I would recommend for you to be in the workshops, because that will help you to assess like, okay, is this going to be an easy week for me, or are there still some things to do? But yeah.
This next question is going to make this sound like an infomercial sales pitch, but how much does it cost? How much does this program cost?
Yes, so that answer I also don't have for you.
For Carmen, probably.
Yeah, it's more like a question for Carmen or Sarah.
I'll give you a more question for you. This app idea requires a lot of data to train the AI model. Will this program help me with that?
Yeah, so same question again. So no, the program will not help you train the AI data model, but Andrea, our AI expert, is one of the mentors. So if you want to know more about how to train your AI model or your AI bot, my recommendation is to book a mentoring slot with her.
Finally, can we not mention the name of our app or the idea of an app in order to pass the MOM test?
Yes, so that's a very nice question, Yusuf. So like the MOM test tells me that you're somewhat experienced in app design. For everyone, the MOM test is a test that we do sometimes when we try to explain our idea to our mom. let's say, and if she doesn't understand it, it's not clear enough, basically. So sometimes we call it like you have to go to like your neighbor, or to like if a random person doesn't understand what you're trying to do, your value proposition is not clear. And that's also why in the first phase we spend a lot of time in getting that value proposition crystal clear, so that you will always pass that MUM test. The specific question that Yusuf has is like, okay, so if I do a MUM test, can I not use the name? Well, actually, the name of your app idea could be part of your proposition, right? So if you can explain, if it helps you to explain your proposition, the promise, like the problem you're going to solve and how, then you should definitely put it in the MUM test.
Can my app include a test from a camera company?
A test from, oh, sorry, which one is that?
This is in the Q&A section, and it's from Anonymous, so that might need more detail, but that's the question. Can my app include a test from a camera company? I think it means can I get a camera company involved for testing?
Yeah. Well, yeah. So if the camera company might be one of your partners that you need to kind of launch your app or get your app realized, if a camera company could be a potential user group, in both situations, it would be useful to do testing with them or by them. So definitely, we would not say like let's not do that. But yeah. So again, if they're important to get your app realized or they're an important user group, I would definitely do that.
And that's all the questions that we've got so far. Feel free to keep writing them and we can answer them in the background for the rest of the webinar.
Yes. So with that, I mean, we're in the webinar for well over an hour now, and we promised a 5-minute break. So I think that is a good time for now. So let's take 5 minutes, maybe to stretch the legs a bit. So see you back at like, what's that, 17? 17 past. Thank you very much.
All right, we are back. It is 17. So let's see, maybe we can get some thumbs up if everyone's back in the chat. Everyone's back online. We'll wait one more minute. See if everyone had a chance to stretch their legs. All right. Okay. Welcome back, everyone. Indeed, maybe just a small thumbs up from everyone in the chat to see that you are back here, back at it, ready to learn. Again, if you do use the chat, just a small reminder that in the settings, you address your message to everyone to make sure not just the host and panelists, but that really says to everyone. That's a drop down to really make sure that all questions are seen by everyone in this call. That would be extremely beneficial. Just so that everyone's informed and everyone knows what questions are coming in, because some of that information is really valuable for everyone to know. Then let me continue. There we go. So we thought that we would bring an example in as well to just show how the garage method is really done in action. And we chose ClassPass. Yay, I see some thumbs up. Yeah, we chose ClassPass now as an example. Maybe just a quick question for everyone. Who uses some kind of fitness subscription app? And if so, maybe you can also post in the chat what you're using. Or if you just go to the gym and have a gym membership, also just feel free to post that. So yeah, how are you staying active, so to say? So we have Sheldon uses gym membership. Do those gym memberships, do you have an app that you use to sign into the gym, or do you just show up, scan a card and go in? It's also really interesting to see how these models work and what we're using. There's an app, even with exercise routines, really nice. So very interactive. Again, it's not just that you go into the physical gym, but there's actually a distinct value that the app is providing. Someone just says Apple Watch. Do you use the Apple Watch to work out, or do you use it to sign in? Okay. Well, then maybe also just a quick question. Who's familiar with ClassPass? Okay, use the Apple Watch to work out, so probably for tracking. Maybe a short question also at the group. Who's familiar with ClassPass as an app? Has anyone not heard of the app? Just to see if we need to give a smaller introduction of it. Assume if we don't see anything in chat, everyone knows what this is or has heard of ClassPass once beforehand. Okay, someone's never heard of it, so let's give a small explanation of it. So ClassPass is an app based on a subscription model. And what you do is essentially you have a credit-based system, and with these credits based on a subscription model, so there are different pricing plans. For every pricing plan, you get a certain number of credits, and with these credits, you can book yourself into fitness classes, yoga classes, kickboxing, sauna, wellness, for a certain amount of credits, and the subscription cycle renews every month. That is essentially the basic essence of ClassPass. So it's a fitness app. Meanwhile, they've expanded their scope to also co-working spaces, for wellness, for massages, for coffee places. So you get a certain amount of credits every month. And with these credits, you can, so to say, buy and purchase either these goods, or you can sign in for sport classes. To just exemplify how this is used, or how this kind of went through the garage method. So it started out in New York in 2011. There was a ballet dancer called Payal Kadikia, and she was really frustrated with, as a ballet dancer, how hard it was to find and reserve dance or boutique fitness classes that really fit into her highly demanding schedule. So of course, as a ballet dancer, you have a full schedule, but you also need very certain, fitness classes. So something like strength or conditioning or flexibility, and need to make sure that those fit in and around your schedule. So for her, as so to say, the founder, there was a really personal pain point. And it is said that she gave herself around 3 days to come up with a solution. And the first idea then was actually called Classivity. And it was similar to the apps that were around back in the day, like Open Table, where you can reserve tables at restaurants. So she kind of saw that as an already apparent visible option, and then adapted that model to boutique and fitness classes, so that there was just a long listing, so to say, an API search integration of just listing all fitness classes and all studios that were available in New York, and gave slots of classes that you can just sign up to. So just like book a table or Open Table. And based on that, there was a generic, just a generic subscription model that you would subscribe, and you would, you would get to your class. Exactly. So she also there, of course, as an own user, as a founder, and of course also having a connection of dancers and other fitness enthusiasts around her. She understood what the unique pain point was of this user group. That was that there was a need for a variety of classes. There is a flexibility to meet busy New Yorker schedules, and also a discovery, but without being tied to a single gym. So instead of just going to one gym, you might want to go to 2 or 3 different gyms or classes, because they offer very unique programs that you really like, or you really only like doing classes with one teacher, or with one trainer, with one coach, but that coach teaches at 5 different studios. So then you're able, for very low friction and with a very nice cost model, being able to attend all different studios without being really tied down to one. So she also then, within this discovery and developing this app, she really kind of touched into very specific pain points, very, very specific detailed pain points. One of them was also the difficulty of discovering classes and fitting them into schedules. So what classes are available? If you really need to go first into one studio, discover what classes there are, loyalty points are the new currency, presumably. Yeah, that's similar. So we look at loyalty, we look at credits, but it is indeed like you need to first look at one studio, see what they're offering, discover what classes do you really like. And that takes a lot of time, but in a busy schedule, you don't have that time. You maybe want to try a few classes there and a few classes here. There are, of course, high costs and commitment issues with traditional memberships. If you're locked into one gym and that has a high subscription cost, then you're not going to welcomely try out a new yoga studio or a new dance studio or a different gym or kickboxing studio. You really have then a loyalty because you're locked in. And the switching costs are quite painful because it takes time to quit a membership. It takes time to discover something new that you might like more. So this really removed all that friction. And of course, also on the other side, if we don't look at the users of the actual customers, but if we look at the actual studios, of course, they need to fill their seats as well. They want to make sure that their Pilates classes or their kickboxing classes or their aerobics classes, that all those seats are filled out. So it was also a solution that really worked quite well for the studios. And of course, when she analyzed the market, she saw that there were very traditional gym memberships, one-off class deals. There were some smaller bundle deals, but nothing as really unique as what she was looking for. then if we look at the define phase, so what is the actual value proposition that she's looking for? So ClassPass build personas based on urban fitness enthusiasts looking for flexibility and variety. I'm a persona, for instance. Maybe a few of you also identify as this. So to say, as this exemplary persona of myself, I live in a big city. I don't have a lot of time after work or before work, so I want to train with my favorite trainers that are at different boutique studios in my city without a lot of friction. So Monday morning, I go to one yoga studio. Tuesday evening, I go to a different Pilates studio, and so on and so forth through the entire week. And I really enjoy the low friction of just with, reserving my classes at the beginning of the week, and then I know I have them in my schedule and I just go. It also allows me with a single subscription to really discover new studios. If I know that, there's a new studio that's opening up, I have my set amount of credits, I can try it out. And if I want to try it out for the first time, I even get a 50% discount. So I only pay half the credits. Which is also then really, of course, appealing to the studios to get new people in and lock them in. There's, of course, a lot of flexibility and convenience here. I can also cancel classes 12 hours beforehand without any fee or penalty. And of course, what I already mentioned is that there's also a win-win for studio and users. So the studios fill their slots, users have a lot of variety, they can try new things, and if they really like classes or if they really like studios, you can just, reserve your slots. And there sometimes are specials that you get an extra discount if you're a recurring client. And of course, a very streamlined model. It is just a single subscription. So one subscription to cater to all your fitness needs. And that's pretty cool. Maybe just to check it out, does anyone else have an app like this or use anything like this similarly in the chat? No, not right. No. Okay, then let's move on to the develop phase. So the service blueprint and the main flow. So the first UX design that she developed was really just that users could discover, book, and manage their classes, and also provide class feedback. So how this really looks like on the phone is you open the app, you browse studios, and you either have the function of going into the city map and locating where you are and what studios are closest around you, or hitting, areas that you're interested in, if it's Pilates, yoga, if it's boxing, if it's HIIT or High Rocks. So you can browse those studios, those classes, you view the schedule, see what works for your time, you book the class, and you use the credits that you have availability for that month in your subscription cycle to book it. Often it's really simple. If the class is full, you're on a wait list. And if someone cancels the class, you slide right in. Then you attend it, you need to check in with the app or check in at the studio. And after the class, you can evaluate with a 5-star system if you like the class, and you can also provide personal feedback to the instructor. And also then that feedback gets shown in the class. So you see how many stars that class has, you see what other users have said about the instructors, if they like it, if they're, if it's an enjoyable class, if it's really hard. So even their users have a community sense also of sharing information to really evaluate and provide value of each individual class. How this looked like with testing is they tested their design with really 2 things. One, does the functionality and the flow, so the user experience of the app, does it make sense? Is it coherent and a logical, very easy, fast flow? But also, is it easy enough for the users to achieve their goals? And if we think about, well, what are the actual goals of the user? I want flexibility, I want variety, I want to have different experiences. And they've achieved that over time. They have had several different iterations. So first, 2012, 2011, actually, it was just a subscription model. They then varied that towards 2016, 2018 by introducing this notion of credits. that everyone just gets a certain amount of credits with a different tiered pricing strategy. So the user could also there self-select how many credits they want, if they only want to go to one class per week, or if they wanted to go to several classes per week. So everyone can really self-select and individualize also what fitness program works for them. Then moving on to deliver, here you just see a quick interface of how this app actually works. So indeed, with these continuous feedback loops, they really allow the adjustments in finding, the scheduling, seeing what works, creating a really comprehensive overview of how to most easily find the navigation for the users to find and use what class they want to look for at which studio, which region, and at what time. But also have the flexibility, manage their credits, and finding, and it's a really overall quite intuitive, easy to use app. Looking at how they now scaled it over time. So first it was really book your class at a fitness studio or at a yoga studio, at a boutique fitness studio. Very, very self-forward. And of course, their profit and their revenue model was based on the margin that they received from the users buying the credits. And then the credits would go to the studios, and then the studio would receive part of the credits, and a small margin was kept in by ClassPass as well. So it was, of course, for them, they profited off the margin of their users, and the studios profited of filling empty seats within their classes. There was a future expansion. So through the iterations, of course, the app was more and more streamlined. It became a lot smoother, but they've also expanded into this whole idea of wellness. So already what I mentioned beforehand, first, it was really just studios and sports. Now you can get a coffee, you can sign in to work at co-working spaces, you can get massages, anything that you can think about regarding health and wellness and having a better lifestyle. Be assured that ClassPass is able to provide this. And of course, with this diversification of also entering new regional markets and not just being, in the US, but launching into Europe, into the Middle East, into Australia and Asia. Of course, with this global expansion, also, changing, evolving user needs, and the architecture and what this app has to provide on a B2C, but also on a B2B framework has also adapted, making sure that even that the performance of the app is still as seamless and smooth even during peak hours. As a result of this, and also continuous user testing, so continuous refining of this idea, and as I mentioned, ClassPass was founded 2011. We're now, of course, 14, almost 15 years later. They have over 73,000 partner businesses. So studios, cafes, co-workings, wellness centers, all around the world. That means they have almost 250 million reservations, and they're present in almost 30 countries since last year. So that was the idea and the introduction of ClassPass. Just also showing how an app over the years, of course, over 15 years, kind of evolved and continuously iterated on this garage method, scaling, time by time, iterating time by time, grew into a really, viable, internationally recognized fitness app targeting a very specific niche, urban user group. That is all of this case study for now. Indeed, as Joey says, if you have any questions about it, please post it in the chat. Happy to answer them anytime. Also, if you have any further questions about not only about the case study, but about the entire program, this is the one chance right now that we still have to address all of them. So feel free to let us know. Right now. Okay, if you have any, if there still are any questions, how many people were involved? We're almost at the end of the session. Hang in there. How many people were involved in producing the app? Truthfully, I would have to see and check, but I think meanwhile it's a quite sizable company based in New York with, I would assume, 50 to 200 employees, maybe more. As a technical expert in classes, how did the founder bridge the gap from being too close to product to business minded? I'd probably say, again, through strategic partnerships. Of course, the founder story here is the carrying story arc of having a very personal pain point and finding the solution quite fast. But this is also needed over, continuous testing and iteration over the years. So yeah, I think from that, it is a challenge, of course, to not be too involved in your product, but also to have the right people on your team and have the diversity of opinions and having also the business expertise to come in to scale it.
Okay.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So also to add to that, as a very interesting question that was asked about the founder of ClassPass. What you actually see in many startups and apps is that founders are actually very close to the user group or the user group themselves. And what you see is that investors, they kind of seem to prefer that because then they know that the most difficult part, being understanding the user, is pretty much covered in the ownership. And your question, of course, is then, and that's a great way to start an app and a business and innovation, like focused in a niche market that you know a lot about. So that is a success factor. But obviously, when you scale up, you need to think about like maybe a broader business or broader target groups and things like that. But by that time, you've already started and you are in like subsequent funding rounds, which allow you to bring in like more experienced entrepreneurs or like experts from other areas, like Christina highlighted there.
Over 1,000.
Oh, and it's over 2,000 employees. We just figured out over 1,000. Sorry. Yeah. So there's an interesting, more general question. If you think that your app is could be subject to intellectual property, or more precisely, protection of intellectual property. Will we get support from the program and to guide us through that process? So I've done a lot of IP work, so I can, in the mentoring sessions, we can talk. So if you book a mentoring session with me, I can guide you and talk you a little bit through that, how that could look like. And then, we can you can decide and we can recommend a little bit like a way forward. I can also help you assess or help you assess your own idea in terms of like, is it IP worthy? So if you are interested in that or you have questions about that, then feel free to book a mentoring slot with me. Yeah. All right. Next up is a little test, because we've been talking through a lot of things. Like we have gone through the garage method and all the steps that we're going to take together through the program. And also Christina has given an example of how a ClassPass actually like is an example of where it started with one idea and it went kind of through that garage method, like trying to really focus on the first niche user group, make sure we launch with focus and not with all features that we have now, and then have a scaling plan afterwards. So you kind of see we had theory and have a practical example. So let's see how much you actually know of what we've been telling you now. So let's go. Are we going to switch screens or did you?
Yeah. Stop.
I have to do something. Stop sharing. Yeah. So the first question, what steps will we take together? And what is the first step? Yeah. Let's see, 19 out of, we are below half of everyone answered the question. So give people some time to maybe give an answer. All right, let's give people like 5 more seconds to answer. Yes. Do we have the answers as well? Or should I give the answer? But I see some different answers. Explore, share, refine, pitch. All have some answers. The first step we take together is exploring your idea. I also understand why people answer share your idea, because also we talked about user testing in the exploration phase, which is kind of sharing your idea. So I get that answer as well. Could be the same as pitching your idea, talking to users about your idea. So I also understand that idea, that answer. And then there's one answer on refine your idea. That would be actually be the next step. So close enough. Say, so what's the next one? What is the second step then? I will take that. I kind of gave that answer away, did I?
Yeah, but the answer isn't here, so it's another answer.
Okay. Yeah, see. By the way, this knowledge test will not influence your participation in any way.
We know about you.
Yeah.
Mhm. All right.
Oh, thumbs up, yeah. Yeah.
So indeed, the second step is defining your value proposition. So this is really the core focus, what we'll do in week 2, starting also already a bit in week 1.
Yep.
So what is the third step we'll take together?
No spoilers this time.
Yeah. I was looking at the participation.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, this is interesting, of course.
Yeah.
So I think Alma already hinted at, of course, refine your idea, but actually, according to the garage method, the third step is actually already developing your first UX prototype. So understanding, developing a prototype, understanding, developing a service blueprint, having the first something there that you can bring out and test.
Yeah, the refine is actually week 2, and it's about like fine-tuning the value proposition. So again, I could also imagine that if you read refine your idea, you're thinking about like making it more real in a UX prototype. So I also kind of understand might be terminology, but by week 2, the value proposition, by the end of week 2, the value proposition is clear, and we go into defining your first UX prototype.
Yeah. Okay. Now, the fourth step. So once we have an actual UX prototype that we have, developed, that we want to test, where we have gotten feedback on, what would the next step be?
Oh, much more even spread this time.
Yeah.
Very even spread.
Interesting.
Hmm.
Yeah. So now if we really, think along, also thinking from like a human-centered perspective, thinking about iterations. We have our first, UX prototype. We're testing it with users, with friends, with family, maybe with a few user groups. Based on that information that we've got and that we received, what is the next step that we would take? Okay. So then actually, Elmo was mentioned now 3 times, refining your idea.
Yeah.
But step 4 is actually then really getting feedback on that prototype, refining your idea now. So doing a really focused iteration based on actual user feedback, either from real people or from AI that we want to, test this product that we're developing. So that is officially step 4. But of course, like throughout the entire program, we will continue to refine the idea. So this is really a bit of a trick question, not gonna lie. Okay, 5th step. We have 6 steps in total. Go, 1 answer in, 2 answers in. Develop your first prototype, 1 up and down.
Yeah.
Also nice.
It's also interesting. It's an interesting question in the sense
Yeah.
like first versus final prototype. You could always wonder, is there ever a final prototype actually? Well, the thing is, you always keep improving your idea. Maybe not the prototype, but sometimes at some point we launch, but we always keep improving, of course. But actually, the prototype is already end of week 4, where we actually have the prototype ready enough for pitching. But before pitching, we need to solidify our idea a little bit more first. So we have to think about our MVP, how we scale, what our revenue model is, and things like that. So step 5 in week 5 together will kind of solidify your idea together.
And lastly,
the 6th and final step together.
I think Ellen already hinted it a second ago. Also, what is the thing that we ask you to do in week 6 to finalize this competition? Someone still answered explore your idea, which I think that's great. You can always explore your idea. Maybe you're already exploring the second idea.
Yeah.
Really nice.
Actually, it's interesting. There's really no wrong answer. We'll go through these 6 steps, but it could always be that you learn something in a step and you have to kind of go back a step in the real world. We'll try to make sure that we keep speed together. But honestly, there's no real wrong answer. But the 6th step and final step we had in mind, and it was to help you create a pitch for your idea. and with that, what you'll have is like a focused value proposition, like a great prototype and a pitch that all these three you need to enter the semifinals of this competition. And like we'll help you to get there in 6 weeks.
It's an interesting question that came in the chat, namely, do we have to necessarily follow through the garage model? What if we can use any better methodology? Well, of course, that's up to you. If you say, I want to use, lean startup or any other agile methodologies, feel free. We're going to walk through the garage model, though, the garage method, so to say, with a core focus on, of course, also design thinking, understanding what our target group is, understanding also the entire market, and iteratively developing your idea. At the end, though, we've shown the app model canvas. That is, so to say, what is the end part of the end product that you have to develop and deliver.
Yeah.
That is something that you will also be assessed on. And the garage method kind of leads up to really filling out that whole app model canvas. So in that sense, it is, of course, highly recommended. But if you want to include or add on any other methodologies, of course, feel free to do so. And also let's share that in the upcoming sessions.
Yeah. Very good. All right. Let's,
So yeah, I'll share that. We'll hop back here. There we go. Menti, we have completed. So yeah.
So the key takeaways for today. So the garage method is not the only approach to developing apps, but is a best practice approach to realizing impactful apps, especially because there's a lot of emphasis on making sure that we understand the user group, that we focus on a user group, that we have a focus on a need that is important, and that we launch with focus. So if you like, that's why we use the garage method. It's rooted in design thinking because it's very user-centric and it allows us to iterate quickly, learn quickly. And as the knowledge test said, we will go through 6 steps, explore our ideas, define the value proposition, develop and validate UX or user experience design, and then iterate and create a final prototype, at least final enough for our launch. We will then think about the business model and the MVP, and then make sure that there's a convincing and inspiring pitch. And with that, you should have like all the elements, all the ingredients to be in the winning kind of area for this competition as well. Yeah. So just to help you also, the next session is workshop 1, where we will introduce in more detail how to explore your idea. That's October 29th from 3 to 5 GST. So make sure that you put that in your agenda. It will help if you already download and print the value proposition canvas. You can download it from the platform, BNC platform. It's also handy if you have a ChatGPT or Gemini available during that session, because we will use, like I said before, we use these chatbots to help us through week 1. So and we'll instruct you how to do it during that workshop. So it's handy if you have it really on your phone or on your computer right there, so that you can readily use it. And then maybe the next steps, should I ask this for you, Sarah, maybe to explain this one?
Hello, Elmo. It's not Sarah, it's me.
Oh, Carmen, yes.
Yeah. So hi, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us today. So most of you asked a very similar question. So the step to have access to all the resources is, first, you have to sign up on the link that I will be sharing with you again on the chat. So once that you register as a participant, please allow us between 24 to 48 hours where we will onboard you on the platform, on the Create Apps Championship platform. Here, you will have access to all the tools and resources that will help you to create a wonderful submission. So You will have access to the recording of the workshops that you couldn't attend. You will have access to videos and tutorials that will help you with your prototype. You will have access to the community itself. So you will have access to everything. So please just allow us to onboard you. And that's it. So I think that is everything that you need to know. Also, yes, I don't want you to miss that starting next week, every Thursday, we will have a check-in calls. So these check-in calls, it will be to answer all the questions that you might have regarding the competition, regarding what is the submission requirement, what teams, international language, all the questions regarding the competition itself. We will be answering on a weekly basis on our check-in calls. So yes, as now, again, repeat, first step, register on the link that my colleague Marian and Jasmine, we share on the chat. Please register here, and in 48 hours since you register as a participant, you will receive an email from the Create Apps Championship giving you access to the platform. So that's it. So Elmo, I don't know if you have, or Christina, any final words?
I think still good to notice where we can find the workshop recordings, of course, for every week. So it's be on the platform. You just open the page workshops and everything will be available for you there, right, Carmen?
Exactly. Yeah, you will be able to find everything there.
Great. And then I think, yeah, just from our side as well, of course, if you want to further dive into the world of the Garage method, design thinking, or app design, user experience, we've just started with some first interesting reads. Of course, with every week, we'll be adding more references. So to keep you engaged, to keep you interested, to keep you learning, hopefully also to provide you some value and additional information as you create and work on your app model canvas and your app ideas. And then I think, yeah, last but not least, I think that was from all of us. So from Elmo, Joey, Carmen, Sarah, and myself, of course, let's go and let's have a lot of fun together. Let's have a lot of
So this is just the
energy.
beginning. This is just the beginning, and we will help you with along the way. Or any question, any help that we can offer, we will be here to support you. So thanks a lot, all of you. Yeah, Christina, go ahead.
Someone already asked in the chat, when will we announce the winners?
For the winner is still a long way, but the finals is in April. So what you have to have on mind is you have to work on your prototype, on your business model, and this is why we will start next week with helping you to create a wonderful submission. And you will have until 15th of December to submit. So right now the submission is closed. So now it's just the enrollment phase to enroll as a participant and unlock access to all the resources that we have on the platform. So one step at a time. Now register as a participant and we will see you. Okay? So Christina, if you have any final words?
I think from our side, we are good to go. Thank you everyone for joining, for staying along, and excited to be working with you in the upcoming weeks.
So thank you very much to all of you for joining us today. We're looking forward to see you on Thursday, 3 p.m. We will be sending you the invites to join to the check-in call to answer all the questions regarding the competition. And we will have the first workshop on the 29th. So yeah, that's it. Don't forget to register so you will be updated of all the news. Thank you all. Have a good evening. Bye.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you.
Thank you, Christina. Thank you, Elmo. Thank you, Joy. Thanks a lot.
See you then. Bye.
Bye.